Hello and welcome back to Crypto Saving Experts, where we talk about the latest cryptocurrency news and take a look at the markets so that we all know exactly what is happening. My name is Jess and we do these live streams every single weekday. So if you are new here, please don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. Let's see what's going on with the prices this morning. We've got some interesting updates here. But first of all, Bitcoin has moved slightly. It's been a pretty interesting 24 hours where we've seen Bitcoin dip below $42,000 momentarily. We are now trading at $42,870, up 0.28% within the last 24 hours. If we take a look at the Bitcoin chart here, on the 1 hour chart, we did dip down to $41,630 for a short period of time. We did see a small bounce there again. As we have predicted here, it is the Christmas period. And with that, we are going to see trading volumes drop and we are going to see some sideways action. And that is exactly what we have seen. Prior to this Christmas period, we were seeing some volatility. On the 4 hour chart, you can see we were really retesting that $44,200 level a couple of times, and we were seeing some pretty strong movements for Bitcoin. But now the Christmas period is hit, and we are just seeing that sideways action, which is expected, and it's absolutely fine. And hopefully, when the new year comes, that bullish momentum will re-enter the markets. Let's first of all, though, take a look at what's been going on in the cryptocurrency news today. I think we could be looking at the reason as to why we are seeing a bit of a dip in the markets, and that is the Mbox Repayments. Now, this has created a lot of fear in the markets for many years now. In fact, we have been cautious about this for a long time because Mbox Repayments is basically where the Mbox was an exchange that was live in like 2010. It was one of the first Bitcoin exchanges. It was operating and it was creating about 70% of Bitcoin transactions at the time. And then it just went completely offline. So when it went completely offline, a lot of people lost access to their Bitcoin and a lot of people were very angry. Now, a lot of people want their Bitcoin back, but we're waiting to see when that is going to happen. We've seen over the years many times the news say, look, Mbox say, look, we're going to repay the customers, the people that lost access to their Bitcoin back in 2013, I think it was, and they have not yet been repaid. Let's see here. These are the first cash payments in 10 years, and on day one, the trustee has messed up and made incorrect payments. So we'll talk about this in just a second, but essentially people lost access to their Bitcoin in 2013. They are now eventually getting access to their Bitcoin once again. It has created a lot of FUD in the markets over the years because there are fears that if we give all of these people back their Bitcoin that they lost access to in 2013, they are going to dump their Bitcoin into the markets and it's going to create a huge sell-off. So when there are rumors about Mbox repayments, we do typically see a slight move to the downside for Bitcoin. Again, we have seen that this time around. But this is the first time we've actually seen the repayments take place. Typically in history, it has just been rumors and the deadline to repay users has been pushed back numerous times. But now they are actually making their first repayments to users who lost access to their Bitcoin. And it turns out some people are receiving double the payout. And that is not the news that we wanted to see here. They can't mess this up. People have been waiting for their Bitcoin for 10 years. They have a certain amount of Bitcoin there to allocate to the different users of the platform. What we don't want to see is them giving some users their Bitcoin twice and then seeing this go on even longer, because if they mess this up now, they need to sort it all out again to work out how they can repay the users when they run out of Bitcoin because they're paying the first users twice. It just doesn't make sense. It's an absolute mess. It has been a mess for 10 years and it seems like it's going to continue to be. So let's take a look further at some other cryptocurrency news here, but this could be the reason as to why we did see that dip yesterday. Big news here. Grayscale's Barry Silbert has resigned from the company's board. So Barry Silbert and Mark Murphy will no longer be members of Grayscale's board of directors effective on the 1st of January next year. DCG's CFO Mark Scheif will take over from Mr. Silbert. So Grayscale's founder and former CEO Barry Silbert is stepping down as the company's chairman of the board, effective on the 1st of January. The changes were announced via an SEC filing dated the 26th of December, adding that another board member was also stepping down. Now, Mr. Silbert's role will be taken up by DCG's CFO. Grayscale's board will now consist of the CFO, Matthew Cummel, Senior Vice President of DCG, and Grayscale's CFO and member of its audit committee. So Grayscale has applied to the SEC to convert its Bitcoin trust into an ETF. We all know about this by now. We will be talking about the ETF in just a second. So make sure to stay tuned for that. Before we continue with today's news, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button. At the end of today's stream, we will be discussing the different crypto events that will be occurring in 2024, and we will be analyzing the price of Bitcoin. So make sure to stay tuned, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification button, help us get the channel to as many people as possible, help us educate people about the cryptocurrency space in 2024. If you have any friends that want to get into crypto, make sure to push them over to Crypto Saving Expert. They can make a free account, they can access some free cryptocurrency courses, and educate themselves about the space. Now, before we continue, I am going to drink out of my CSE merch store mug. If you want some Crypto Saving Expert merch, make sure to go to cryptosavingexpert.com. And if you press that merch store link there, you could just go directly to cryptosavingexpert.store as well. You can see our merch store where we've got a number of different things, and we've got some big discounts on at the moment. We've got a Bitcoin Christmas hamper here that's got a huge selection of the merch there, and it has a huge discount from £300 all the way down to £149.99. So make sure to check that out if you haven't already, and get those deals before the new year starts and all of those deals get removed. But let's take a look at the cryptocurrency news now and see what's going on. Good afternoon, Alex. Good afternoon, PG. And good afternoon, Black Sales. Thank you very much for tuning in. It's a bit late for a stream today. It's 2 p.m. already. I don't know where today has gone. Let's take... I'm halfway off the screen here. That's better, isn't it? Now we can actually see me. Let's see what's going on in the cryptocurrency news here today. Crypto hackers, scammers, and exploiters stole $1.85 billion in 2023. Now, this seems like a huge number, but I have a contradicting article here somewhere. Here we go. Crypto market sees over 50% decline in hacks over 2023. So although this is a huge number of $1.85 billion, we have seen a 50% decline in hacks over 2023. So this is a positive thing here. We are seeing steps in the right direction. This decline may be due to the lack of interest in the cryptocurrency space. We do see this frequently. The amount of hacks does kind of coincide with the amount of interest in crypto. In a bull market, there's going to be more, and in the bear market, it's going to be less. It just works that way, unfortunately. But that is nevertheless still a really important thing. Let's take a look at the next article here. We've already spoke about the Mbox creditors reportedly being given begin receiving repayments. Amazing for those users who lost access to their Bitcoin in 2013. As I said, it does create some fear within the markets, because there's fear that these people have a huge amount of Bitcoin that they want to sell into the markets, which could create a sell-off for Bitcoin. It's been a concern over and over again. I don't think it is too much of a concern personally. I think this is a pretty bullish part of the market, and these people that invested in 2013 do know what happens to Bitcoin. These people have probably been following along Bitcoin over the years, watching these 4-year cycles, watching the price move to the upside, watching it move back to the downside, calculating how much their Bitcoin was probably worth at $70,000, and saying, look, I understand how this works. I've been following it for 10 years. I'm going to hold on to this for a bit longer. Or at least I hope that's what they will say. I hope they have been educating themselves throughout the last 10 years, and they haven't just been completely giving up on crypto because of what happened with Mt. Gox, because it was a terrible thing to happen. But let's take a look at the next thing here and see what else is going on in the markets. Can you see me all clearly? I don't know how this presentation has been on today's stream. We're using a different software today. Let me know how it looks. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. We do have an AMA with that Martini guy later today. If you are a CSE Plus member, make sure to join the AMA on the Community Plus Discord group tonight at 5 p.m. If you are not a member, make sure to become a member by 5 p.m. if you want to join in on that AMA. It's basically a live chat with that Martini guy and the team at Crypto Saving Expert, where you can turn on your camera or keep your camera off and just speak to that Martini guy, ask questions about the cryptocurrency space. If you don't feel comfortable using your microphone, you can send in the questions before the stream starts, and you can just have a conversation. It's basically like being on Zoom with that Martini guy, and you can ask all of those questions. So if you are interested in that, make sure to join the CSE+ Plus Discord before 5 p.m. UK time tonight. Let's take a look at the next thing here. We've already spoke about the Mount. Creditors reportedly being given begin receiving repayments. Amazing for those users who lost access to their Bitcoin in 2013. Do know what happens to Bitcoin. These people have probably been following along Bitcoin over the years, watching these 4-year cycles, watching it move back to the downside, calculating how much their Bitcoin was probably worth at $70,000. And saying, look, I understand how this works. I've been following it for 10 years. I'm going to hold on to this for a bit longer. Or at least I hope that's what they will say. I hope they have been educating themselves throughout the last 10 years, and they haven't just been completely giving up on crypto because of what happened with Mt. Gox, because it was a terrible thing to happen. But let's take a look look at what else is going on in the cryptocurrency news here. Hashdex meets with the SEC chair's official following Bitcoin ETF proposal. So, in a rare move, Hashdex secures a meeting with SEC's chair's office over Bitcoin ETF. Now, we've seen this a couple of times here. As discussed, these kind of things don't happen frequently, but with spot Bitcoin ETFs, it's happening a lot. And we can see here that the department, let's take a look. Bloomberg's ETF analyst noted that a meeting with the SEC's chair office was unusual, considering other applicants regularly met other departments of the commission. He said this meeting was with the chair's office, Gary Gentz's office, and different from those meetings we've seen, which are with trading and markets or corporate finance. Meanwhile, this is not the first time the ETF applicant will meet with the regulatory authority. In November, asset manager Hashdex, along other applicants, met with the SEC to discuss its pro-spot Bitcoin ETF. Now, let's talk about these spot Bitcoin ETFs, because there's a lot of anticipation that we are going to see positive things on the 10th of January. That is because the SEC have a deadline by which they need to respond to these applications around the 10th of January. We've seen a number of applications now for these spot Bitcoin ETFs. And when we have these applications with the SEC have 4 deadlines by which they need to act before. So first 3, they can decide whether they want to accept, reject, or delay these applications. And by the 4th deadline, they need to decide whether they're going to accept or reject, and they can no longer delay application responses. Now, January is only the 3rd deadline. So we do still have the 4th deadline in March to be aware of. In January, they could choose to just delay their responses even further. But there is some anticipation that on the 10th of January, we could see some really positive news about these spot Bitcoin ETFs. And fingers crossed that they do get accepted. Now, I've just seen in the chat, Retro Mike Tech has donated another $10. Thank you so much for that donation. I appreciate it every single time. We do not get many donations here on the channel, so it really makes my day when we do get one. Thank you very much for that donation. I hope you are enjoying the streams. I hope you had a lovely Christmas if you celebrate, and I hope you have a lovely new year. Let's take a look at what's going on in this article when it comes to Grayscale. So Grayscale has amended its ETF strategy to meet the SEC's cash-only redemption demands. So basically what's happening here is the SEC is having multiple different discussions with multiple different companies who have applied for a spot Bitcoin ETF, and they're talking about the models when it comes to ETFs. So there are 2 different kinds of models for ETFs, and this is basically the discussion of how the ETF issuer is going to manage the Bitcoin behind closed doors. So we are seeing here that the SEC are looking for these companies to have a cash-only redemption demand, a cash-only redemption model. So let's talk about this in a little bit more detail. So the amendment means Grayscale will facilitate fund creation and redemption using cash, mirroring similar decisions taken by other spot Bitcoin ETF applicants, including BlackRock. So Bloomberg's senior ETF analyst characterized Grayscale's revised submission as a crucial final step towards the approval of converting its Bitcoin trust into an ETF. Now, we already know that Grayscale applied for a spot Bitcoin ETF maybe a year or so ago, and the SEC wrongfully rejected their application. Now, we can officially say it was wrongfully rejected because the SEC have lost a lawsuit in courts where it was deemed that they should not have used the reasoning they did to reject Grayscale's application. So Grayscale now they are now having their application re-reviewed by the SEC. They're having meetings with the SEC, and the SEC is saying, look, we can't do it like this, but maybe you should use this model, and really trying to push things forward. And Grayscale are making all of those amendments made by the SEC to try and get that application over the line. So we can see here over the past weeks, the SEC has insisted that ETF applicants handle funds in a specific way, favoring cash creation over the in-kind model. So usually traditional ETFs facilitate in-kind transactions. This is explaining the opposite kind, permitting market makers to swap the underlying asset for the ETF shares directly. So essentially they can say, look, we've got Bitcoin. We want the Bitcoin ETF shares instead. Let's swap 1 for 1. But the SEC don't want this to happen for spot Bitcoin ETFs. Instead, they want to have cash create methods. So this would mean that you have to go from the ETF shares to cash, to Bitcoin, to the back to cash, back to the ETF shares. You can't have that direct swap between the Bitcoin and the ETF. You need to use cash as the intermediary between the two. Now, the SEC's decision to bar broker-dealers from directly engaging with Bitcoin is perceived as part of efforts to address concerns regarding potential market manipulation and illicit activities. Meanwhile, a general partner at the B Capital highlighted how the SEC's insistence on a cash creation model might present higher risks for investors seeking Bitcoin exposure via a spot ETF. So aside from conforming to the SEC's cash-only requirement, Grayscale's amended filing shows that its spot Bitcoin ETF shareholders won't benefit from any airdrops or forks of the blockchain network. So with respect to any fork, airdrop, or similar event, the sponsor will cause the trust to irrevocably abandon the incidental rights or IR virtual property. In the event the trust seeks to change the position, an application would need to be filed with the SEC by NYSE Arca seeking approval to amend its listing rules. Now, my camera has just died, so just give me a second to swap the batteries over. This happens every single time, but every single time it seems to die. I don't know why. Maybe I need a new camera battery for Christmas. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button. Thanks again, Retro Mike Tech, for that donation. We very much appreciate it. Let's see how many likes we've got on today's stream. We've got 9 likes on today's stream. That camera is going to die as well. This is not the perfect scenario here. Instead, we are going to have to continue with the stream in this way. So we are seeing here that in response to Johnson's questions by the asset manager was making this move, considering that applicant's tactical sidestepping of this issue. However, he noted that the SEC might have influenced the firm's decision. So let's continue with this. Actually, let's put this. Can we put this stream on pause? My whole computer has gone absolutely crazy. Let's pause this for just a second to see if we can fix this. Technical difficulties. There are always technical difficulties. Let's put the price of Bitcoin up. Right. Hopefully, we're back in action now. We just had to have a bit of a swap over there. What we can see, let's get the news back up and let's see what's going on here. So I'm going to have to pull the news up. Had to swap computers there quickly. Things weren't going as planned. Camera has died. It's been a bit of a chaotic stream so far. Let's pull up Crypto Saving Expert and see what's been going on in the news. In fact, we are looking at Crypto Slate today as well. So let's pull that up and we can go through the news together. I just ran to get my laptop, so I'm a little bit out of breath. Let's see what's going on here. Crypto Slate. Here we go, adding this onto the stream. Let's see what we were just looking at. We were talking about the ETF models. So let's pull that article up. It's somewhere in this list. Grayscale amends ETF strategy to meet SEC cash-only redemption demands. So we are saying there that what the SEC wants from ETF creators is that we don't have the opportunity to swap Bitcoin, actual Bitcoin for ETF stock. Instead, what we need is a cash creation model where instead of swapping from Bitcoin directly to the ETF, you have to swap to cash and then back and then to cash and then back. So they're putting that intermediary of US dollar in between. They've kind of pushed this on every ETF application so far, but it's really good to see that the SEC is cooperating with ETF applicants, working with them to help them get their applications over the line. We've seen a lot of work towards these ETFs being done by the SEC meeting with these applicants making amendments to their applications, and then continuing to try and keep the ball rolling. As we've just said, we have a deadline by which the SEC need to accept, delay, or reject the ETF applications. If we go to spot Bitcoin ETF application deadline, I'm sure we can pull these up and take a look at these. So we've got them all here. There was a table. Here we go. Here's the table. So you can see, if we zoom in here, Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust refiling conversion from the GBTC stock to a Bitcoin ETF. Recent meeting has taken place. They've had 9 meetings with the SEC. We are waiting to see. This doesn't have the deadlines on. Do we have one with the deadlines on? Let's see if we've got one here. SEC sets table. Maybe if we put table here, it's going to give us a little bit more detail. What have we got here? Accept all. Scroll down. Don't have the table on there either. We've got it on an old article from Crypto Saving Expert, but here we go. Full list of spot Bitcoin ETF application deadlines. This is what we want to see. So here we go. This is the table that I'm talking about. We've got the ARK 21 shares Bitcoin ETF, and that has a final deadline of the 10th of January 2024. We've got the iShares Bitcoin Trust from BlackRock. That has a final deadline of the 15th of March. The rest of these have a deadline of around the 15th of March. Let's get rid of that. So you can see that the real thing that's pushing us towards the 10th of January is this ARK 21 shares Bitcoin ETF refiling. So this is from 21 shares and ARK Invest. So we're waiting to see what can come of this. There has been a lot of rumors that we will see ETF applications being accepted simultaneously. There is definitely a first mover advantage when it comes to these products. So the first company to launch an ETF may have a real big advantage here. We've seen a number of companies all creating spot Bitcoin ETF adverts now, really trying to promote their products. And this is another benefit we are going to see from spot Bitcoin ETF. So far we've discussed the adoption of retail investors, the adoption from institutions pushing a huge amount of money into cryptocurrency, and we can see the excitement around promotion of Bitcoin in a sense as well. This is something we don't really see because promoting cryptocurrency all across the world has a very tight regulation, and it's not the easiest of subjects to kind of promote. But when we have ETFs, these companies can promote that like crazy. And BlackRock promoting Bitcoin is just like an insane thing. Like we've been in this industry for so long, we've been fighting for people to recognize Bitcoin as a serious asset, and now we could be having BlackRock promoting these assets. It's like, the time has finally come. The time we've been waiting for is here. So hopefully we do see some excitement and some changes from the 10th of January. That's why we've all got our eyes on that, because as I've just said, we could see a first mover advantage. I think it's in the SEC's interest to see simultaneous acceptance of these ETF filings. So fingers crossed that some exciting things do come on the 10th of January. I would like to propose a question to the chat today. Is this a buy the rumor, sell the news event, or is this super bullish? We've all been discussing the excitement around these ETFs. There's a high probability, according to analysts, that these ETFs will be accepted. But there is the question of, will it be an immediate pump or will it be slow growth for the markets? I think it could be another reason as to why we will be seeing a bull market in 2024. But will it be a buy the rumor, sell the news event? Let me know in the live chat. It's a pretty interesting question, that one. Let's take a look at what else has been going on in the news. Let's just scroll down here and see what's been happening here. So despite legal woes, CSE, the former CEO and co-founder of Binance, has closed the year up $24 billion. So he's made $24 billion this year, despite obviously having those concerns with Binance stepping down as CEO, possibly facing time in prison. $28 billion. That just is not bad at all, is it? Let's take a look at another one here and see what's going on. Cryptocurrency market sees over 50% decline in hacks over 2023. We discussed that. We've seen KyberSwap have to cut 50% of their staff after $54 million exploit. I mean, completely understandable. Some big changes are happening in the cryptocurrency space, but while that is happening, Bitcoin is just traveling sideways. If we take a look at TradingView, let me pull that up. TradingView, here we go. Let's get that onto the charts here, you can see Bitcoin has been pretty sideways since the Christmas period began. As predicted, this is pretty normal when it comes to Christmas time. We've just seen that sideways action there. It was retesting that $44,200 level, but then Christmas came and we did see a little bit of move to the downside. Trading volumes are a little bit lower than average, and as the new year comes, hopefully that excitement will come back into the markets and we will see some more positive things coming for Bitcoin. But that's all we really have for today, for today's stream. I just wanted to do a quick update on what's happening in the cryptocurrency news and just explain that things are a little bit quiet over Christmas. They do tend to be every single year. But when the new year arrives, a lot of excitement will be here. We've got a lot of excitement around the 10th of January. Hopefully, we do see simultaneous acceptance of these ETFs, and we can see us absolutely have a nice move to the upside. But we will be reporting on that at the time. So make sure to stay tuned, like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. That's all we have for today. We will be back here tomorrow interviewing somebody, so make sure to stay tuned for that. As I said earlier in today's stream, if you are a member of Crypto Saving Expert Plus, Crypto Saving Expert experts, make sure to join the AMA on the Discord tonight with that Martini guy. I've just been on a call with him and he will be with us this afternoon. If you are not a member of CSE Plus and you want to be on that call, make sure to sign up by 5 p.m. UK time today, and you can come on this. Basically, it's like a Zoom with that Martini guy where you can ask questions, you can have your camera on, you can have your camera off, or you can even text us in questions before the meeting if you don't want to put your microphone on and talk. But you can just have an open discussion with the team and with that Martini guy about what's going on in the markets. He'll talk about what he's excited about in the markets right now. And we have these meetings every single month with that Martini guy, and we have shorter ones every single. So we have about an hour meeting every month on a Thursday, and we have weekly meetings every Wednesday. They're meant to be shorter. They're meant to be about 15 minutes, but I'm pretty sure Jordan talks for an hour every single time. So if you want to be involved in them, make sure to join Crypto Saving Expert by 5 p.m. UK time today. If not, we'll be having another one next week. So no worries there. Thank you very much for watching, though. I hope you have enjoyed today's stream. Sorry, it's been a very quick one, very messy one. My camera will be charged for tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for the donation, Retro Mike Tech. And I will be back here tomorrow. Thank you and goodbye.